Well, the Premier League is actually getting intriguing and fascinating at this point. Really, I'm looking forward to the very end of the season to see who the eventual champions are. Well, yesterday it was an intense game between Manchester City and Newcastle United, but fortunately, Manchester City triumphed 2-1. So, the clip you just saw is from that game. Let us review it. All right. O'Reilly's second goal came from a headed finish. The mass of the ball is 0.43 kg. If the ball had a speed of 20 meters per second and was in contact with his head for 0.05 seconds, find the speed of the ball just before it struck the net if it had an impact of 30 newtons. So O'Reilly headed the ball with a force of 30 newtons. Take note. The ball was in contact with his head for 0.05 seconds, and the ball came to him from Haaland with a speed of 20 meters per second. Of course, the mass of football is taken to be this, right? So you are being asked to find the final velocity of the ball with which the ball struck the back of the net. So let's get started. Now, there is what we call impulse in physics. Impulse simply means product of force and the time of duration for which the force acts on an object. So the impulse is given as force times time, Ft. We can also define impulse as change in momentum. What is momentum? The momentum of an object simply means the mass of the object multiplied by its velocity. So impulse equals to change in momentum. That is, we can write mv minus u. This is how we define change momentum. You notice that m is constant because the mass of a body, irrespective of location or position, doesn't change. However, the speed, the velocity can change. So this is the relationship between impulse and momentum. Now, we substitute the values into this expression. The force of the header was 30 multiplied by time of duration, which is 0.05. That equals to the mass of the object, which is 0.43. That is the ball. Bracket open, v is final velocity. We don't know it. And initial velocity given is 20. For the sake of space, I'll just solve this straight. So 30 multiplied by 0.05 will give us 1.5 equals to 0.43 v minus 20. This is a to remove this now, we're going to divide both sides by the coefficient of this bracket. So that leaves us with 1.5 divided by 0.43, and this is 3.5 approximately, equals to this. We cancel out, of course. We then have the v minus 20. So what will be our v? Our v becomes 20 will come to meet 3.5. The sign is minus, so when it crosses over, it becomes plus. So that becomes 3.5 plus 20. The final velocity with which he scored that goal is 23.5 meters per second. This is how to solve that problem. Relationship between impulse and momentum is key. Well, Arsenal plays later tonight against Tottenham Hotspur. Well, I don't know who I'll be rooting for, but let the best team win. See you guys next time.